G'day, Detour family. Welcome back. Another edition of the Detour podcast. We're live again from the Vuelta after another epic stage number 9. Joined, as always, 4-time national road champion Johnny Trevorrow. Couldn't get to the finish, but he delegates very well, folks. And he still managed to get a few post-race interviews through. But if he, on paper, going into stage 9, it was going to be an epic day, particularly that final climb that we said on yesterday's show that just looked like a brick wall. You were very confident that Simon Yates was going to put up a good show. He was your tip for the stage. And then you flipped it at the last minute and said, nah, I'm going with Remco. But there was a few surprise packets on the day, mate.
Yeah, well, Remco hasn't won a stage yet, has he? But you can see he's the best bike rider here. And he's going to win this bike race, I can tell you now. There's no one going to get anywhere near him. He was just amazing. But it was good to see little Louis Meintjes, the South African. I mean, it's hard to believe that he's never won a Grand Tour stage because he's been around for so long. He ran second to both the Yateses when they won their white jersey. When Adam and Simon won the white jersey, he ran second both years to them in that great competition. And it normally means the star of the future. And he's been very good, but hasn't been able to. But today, when that break got clear and they got a few minutes up the road, I said to Vazzy, I said, he'll win this.
They're going to stay away, mate. He'll win this.
I did.
You say the same thing every show. Whenever there's a winner, you always go, mate, 50K to go. I said he'd win this.
Well, that's exactly what I did. Because he was easily the best climber in that group. And it was a really strong group. So there was no interest to bring them back. There was no one there in any danger. So they rode solid. But in the end, they probably should have ridden a fraction harder earlier. And Remco would have won his stage because he flew home. But I'll tell you
only the second ever South African to win a Vuelta stage. Do you know that?
I didn't know that.
Who's the winner before that?
Is Darrell's? No, not Darrell. No. Maybe Chris Froome, but he wasn't classified as South African back then.
Well, I don't know the answer. That's why I was asking you.
I don't know either. I don't know. There you go.
Well, at least we're consistent on this show.
I'll tell you who was very impressive. The young Spaniard, Juan Ayuso.
Yeah.
He finished sixth. He's only 19. He's the youngest bike rider in this bike race. And he's 19.
Well, it's no surprise UAE have signed him up.
Yeah, and he almost held Remco. I mean, he only won 34. He was only 30 seconds down on Remco, who was stomping. Roglic has lost nearly another minute. Yatesy was only
16 to 30th seconds on the stages if you watch on YouTube.
But Jai Hindley dropped. He lost another couple of minutes. Same with Ben O'Connor. So their chances of winning this Vuelta are gone.
Here's the GC standings at the moment.
Yeah,
you can read through those, Iffy. The ones that stand out.
Remco Evenepoel is now 1 minute 12 ahead of Enric Mas, who's really putting up a great ride. Can't stay with Remco, but he's the next best. Primoz now 1 minute 53. Carlos Rodriguez, little Colombian with Ineos, is at 2:33. This superstar 19. Juan Ayuso, riding for UAE, is at 2:36. Yatesy is at 3:08 and sixth. Almeida, the Portuguese, UAE at 4:32. And this youngster, Ayuso, says that Rodriguez is still the man. Sorry, Almeida is still their main man, but. Because he doesn't know how far he'll go. He's only 19. Jai Hindley is ninth at 5:36. Sivikov, Ineos Russian, French Russian, whatever is a mixture, is 5:39. Ben O'Connor is 13th at 5:53. Valverde at 5:53. So, Yeah, and I'll tell you who was really a smart ride today was Jay Vine. You know, if it had been a race for the stage, he might have given himself a test with Remco up the hill. But once they knew that break was going to stay clear and they weren't racing for the stage, Jay just let him right away and finished. What did he finish? 14 minutes down, or 13 minutes down on Remco. Just let them go. So he's now, 30th at 19 minutes, which is great. Now, because he can get in breakaways without them worrying about him so much, because he wants that polka dot climbers jersey, which he'll get. And his teammate did a great job today, Rob Stannard. He got into the break and took all the points to make sure that no one was sort of moving in on Jay's lead, and now he's running second in the polka dot competition, which is we'll have a chat to him on Tuesday morning at the start.
Live comment from Sam Bewley says Robbie Hunter, and then he says
Robbie Hunter.
Then he says maybe.
Yeah, could be right, Bills.
And then I said, bugger it, Bills, you just want to come on the show.
Hey! G'day, Bills. How are you, mate?
Caught me off guard. Lying on the couch.
Yeah, that's fine. Robbie Hunter, you reckon he was the first guy to win a Vuelta stage?
I reckon Hunter's won one. I don't think Imps has won one. So I reckon it's Hunter.
No, he hasn't. I realised it when I said it because he hasn't ridden many Vueltas either. So,
no.
But
how are you enjoying the Vuelta, Bills?
Been a good race. I actually missed a bit of it today because I was playing golf. It's my newfound hobby.
With those clubs that you stole of mine.
Yeah, well, you gave them to me in the end, didn't you?
That's right.
No, it's been a good Vuelta. It's been bloody good. Yeah, I just caught the start of the show. If you were saying that Remco is going to be hard to beat. I mean, today while I was playing golf, we were talking about Remco actually with Cam Meyer, and I said, I still think, has he proven over 3 weeks the way he's riding is in some ways a little bit reckless. Is he going to go the 3 weeks? But I mean, all evidence shows that he's going to. And I think that once the time trial's over on Tuesday night, he'll take a good look at the GC and say, look, I'm probably 2.5 minutes in front of the second place right at this stage. And, if he was a smart bike rider at that point, he'd start to ride a bit more defensively. He doesn't need to go, ride 6.8 watts per kilo from the bottom of the climb to the top of the climb at the end of every stage. Just ride a bit more defensively. And I think that he'd be hard to beat.
If he does win the Vuelta and wins, comfortably, how good is the future of cycling for these young GC battles coming up? I mean, you're timing your run perfectly. Retiring at the end of the year, you're probably going to media. Geez, you got 5-10 years of just classic commentary.
There's going to be some battles, isn't there? I mean, it's a classic thing. Like I remember when Bernal won the Tour de France in 2019, I think it was.
Yeah.
And everyone
21.
thought, and I mean, I was one of the guys that said, he's going to win as many Tour de France as he wants, this guy. He's 21 years old. He's already won the Tour de France. He's going to win 5-6 tours. And then he hasn't won another one since. Pogacar's come along and done 2. And then you go, Pogacar's going to win as many Tour de France as he wants. Now, Vingegaard's beat him. He's also young. Remco's looking like a good shot at winning this year's Vuelta. There's going to be, we're staring at the barrel of 6 or 7 years of guys that are like at the start of their careers already winning the Grand Tours. At a certain point, they're all going to line up to get a Tour de France, and it could be
Exactly
a Tour de France for the history books.
It feels like cycling's getting what tennis had. When you had those superstars at the top, your Federers, Djokovic, Rafael Nadal, all these hitters that have just been doing it for 10, 15 years.
Yeah, we're definitely heading into this era of, I guess, a golden era of cycling where GC battles are just going to be at least in my generation, that we've never seen. Like maybe we saw it in the late 80s a little bit with like Hino and Le Monde going toe to toe and things like that. But we're going to have guys like 4 or 5 bike riders line up at Tour de France in the coming years, going, pick a winner. Good luck.
Yeah. It's good for the bookmakers. What do you reckon, Johnny?
Well, this Juan Ayuso, the young 19-year-old Spaniard, I mean, he's just amazing. He's just a kid, and to watch him today on one of the toughest climbs you'd ever see, almost matching Remco. Sensational.
Yeah, and it's always interesting. Like, yeah, it wasn't long ago that you'd say, "Oh, a 19-year-old shouldn't even be at a Grand Tour." Like people weren't signing pro when they're 19 to start with, but people were signing pros 22-year-olds, and that was young, and it was like, "Oh, let's give them a year or maybe 2 years before we give them a Grand Tour because they're not ready for it yet." And now they're going, "Let's take this 19-year-old and see if he can finish on the podium." So it's definitely a different generation and different era of cycling, but bloody hell, it's good to watch.
Sensational. Well,
I see Wout won in Bataan today, cleaned him up. So what a battle they're going to have at the Wollongong Worlds with who's going to be in charge, Venepol or Wout. Either one could win it. Yeah,
that's right. And I'm sure there'll be hopefully they've buried the hatchet on last year's Worlds.
I doubt it.
And they're gonna,
I doubt it.
Yeah, I think you're right, Jonesy.
I think it's going to be every man for himself. Like this notion of like it's a team. It's like, nah, you've got two guys that could win it. Just enjoy the ride. They're not working together.
We're staying in this amazing hotel in Alicante, and FDJ and Quickstep are here. Staggering down on the water. And I'm going to try and get Remco, sneak up to him, tell him I'm from Australia and get him talking about Wollongong. Run the tape with him and see if I can get him to talk about what's going to happen at the Worlds. Yeah.
You should poke the bear and just say, discuss this on the detour and we don't reckon you guys are going to work together. And then double down, and when you talk to Jay Biden, ask him about the contract again. Just say, how much cash have you got on your contract for these 2 weeks?
I found a lot of, he just signed 2 years. They signed him up for 2 years after about 10 weeks. They saw how good he was. After 10 weeks with them, they signed him up for 2 more years.
Oh, so when he first signed, they signed him. So this was last year.
Yeah, they've already signed him 2 more years.
Well, he's been shortchanged. He needs to renegotiate and say, well, if you don't,
sure he will.
I'm
sure
I'm
he will.
walking. Yeah. Anyway, all right. Well, we're going to take a quick drinks break when we come back. Geez, what do we do? If we've got 23 minutes of interviews, now that we've got viewers on, some of them have been redundant.
Come on, whack them on.
Righto, I'll do the drinks break first. Enjoy, folks.
Look at this bike. You think it's just a bike, right? But it's not. It's a bike 374 people are looking at. This guy, this girl, them, all looking at it. People from here, there, and wherever this is. People that are looking for a bike. Or just a piece of it. Amateurs, semi-amateurs, and pro-amateurs. This guy wants this bike, but with this crank and these bars. This could be the perfect match. But not this one. This girl has a bike to sell, and thousands of people might purchase it. Eyes on Bikes help grow small businesses. His, hers, yours, and the latest data and insights help those businesses keep moving. We are the world's #1 bike marketplace, with over 500,000 products and 900 brands, where buyers and sellers are brought together in a place where a bike is never just a bike. Bike Exchange, where the world buys, sells, learns, and rides.
Thanks again to our great mates at Bike Exchange. Head over to bikeexchange.com.au. You need a road bike, mountain bike, e-bike, and there's a sale on the moment on gravel bikes. So no excuses, Johnny. Best price, and you'll be supporting your local dealers.
Yes, support the company that supports Australian cycling, Bike Exchange. Exactly right, mate.
All right. Well, as we said, you did a lot of pre-race interviews. So here's the first batch of grabs you got before the start.
Okay. Well, we're getting into the really tough stuff. Gene Bates, it's an important stage for you guys. This is the stage where Simon, creamed them in 2018 and virtually won the Vuelta from that.
Yeah, it certainly went a long way to setting his Vuelta victory up the last time we were here. Bit different circumstances this time. We're only stage 9 now. It is an important stage, definitely, going to the rest day and then into the time trial on Tuesday. So we've pinpointed this one as something we want to go after, but also bearing in mind it's still a long way to Madrid, and we're looking at a long game plan.
So it's a brutal finish, and you know it well. What will the plan be about letting a break go up the road? Are you going to worry about trying to contain it yourself, or leave that to others?
No, look, I think there's plenty of others that'll be interested in making sure it comes back for the stage result. We're not too concerned about having to ride to bring it back there. I think we're just looking to take back little bits of time now and try and decrease that deficit that Simon's got to Evenepoel.
I know we've got a rest day in between, but I'm really looking forward to the time trial because Simon has become a whiz in time trial. It used to be a challenge for him, but after this year now, we know that he could even win it.
Yeah, look, he's grown a lot in confidence, particularly this year. He's got, we've put a lot of investment into the time trial work with equipment, with wind tunnel, with positioning, all that, and that all makes a big difference. So I think we can go into Tuesday's stage quietly, confidently, and see how that plays out. But knowing that Evenepoel and Roger are also very strong in that discipline on that kind of course.
Harry Sweeney, we're getting closer to the halfway point in this Vuelta and starting to heat up. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling really good actually. Yesterday was the first day that I legitimately felt good on the bike this tour, which has been pretty nice. I don't actually tend to react very well to rest days, so having 3 rest days in a Grand Tour is not really something that I enjoy or like. I think I'd prefer it with only 2, to be honest, but no, I actually had a lot of fun yesterday. Had a bit of a crack at the start in the breakaway, and then it was probably one of the most enjoyable uphill finishes I've ever done. I think the crowds in Spain are just absolutely unreal. Nice scenery, not too hot, and the climb actually went pretty fast. So I had a really fun day yesterday.
Well, you're one of the few people I've heard say it was a fun day, but that's interesting.
Yeah, I think it was just a good legs, but there's some days that you have on the bike are shocking, and then some days actually really nice, and yesterday was one of them.
Now, you were really strong in the breakaway the other day. It didn't pan out at the finish how you wanted. But just take us through that day, because it was a really good breakaway.
Yeah, it was a really good break. I got in at the start. I honestly didn't really have very good legs, and I suffered pretty much the whole day start to finish, and then I was sort of banking that I might be able to still knock out a decent sprint, and I came in really good position, but as soon as I went to come around, I pretty much just leg locked some. But it is what it is, and I'm hoping for a few more opportunities like that, and I probably won't rely on my sprint again.
So that's what I was going to ask you. What days have you got earmarked coming up?
I've got a few. I'm going to have a crack again today. I think depending on the group if I have good legs like yesterday, I think that I can have a shot in the final depending on who's in the group. And then as for that, I'll have a bit of a good crack at the TT. I think a bit of a hit out after the rest day, and then I think the day after that's a sprint, so the next opportunity won't be for a little while. So I've got almost 3 easy days now coming up.
Good luck, mate.
Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
Now, morning, Ben. Tell us about your day in the office yesterday. It seemed it was really tough for the night.
Yeah, it was actually okay. It was quite well controlled by Quick Step, and on the final climb it was really hard, obviously. Very regular. I actually felt really good personally until I didn't, so I was a bit frustrated yesterday because I think I should have done better.
So what was the issue? You were right there up to about 4K.
I mean, when your legs blow, they blow. I mean, there's no other issue, It's not like the engine stops or whatever. It's just, that's just how it was. So, a bit frustrating, but in the end, it is still only stage 8. And then you have today, and then we have lots of other stages, so you just have to keep hope.
Today is a similar finale. You've got the big climb to finish, maybe even steeper.
Yeah, I think today will be interesting to fight going into the climb because it's not crazy hard before, so it's going to be pretty on to try and get the position at the bottom of the climb because it's really, really spicy going into the final climb.
And plan A for you today?
I mean, plan A is just to get to the bottom of the climb at the front, and then afterwards it's pretty simple. You just ride more or less the pace that you can on a climb as steep as today.
Ben, I think there was a general consensus that you had to come into this Vuelta really hot because the first week was pretty thick. And has it sort of lived up to that expectation? Did you have that expectation?
Yeah, that's definitely right. That's what it feels like so far, because the gaps are already kind of fairly large. But to be honest, I'm just going to keep hope that after not finishing the tour, that I'm also quite fresh, because on Hazayanas in Sierra Nevada, I mean, if you blow there, you're going to lose minutes on that road, on that climb, especially if you're by yourself. So I think in the end, still you have to have the freshness in the final week, because anything can happen. I remember Dumoulin in the final stage. I think when Aru won La Volta, I can't actually remember who won, but I remember Tom just absolutely blew. He lost the red jersey, and I don't think he's going to be the only one that's going to happen to. You know, there's still a long way to come.
We see this phenomenon in the Vuelta where we often get a guy like Michael Storer last year, Jay this year, even Ben King a few years ago. It's clear that if you've got really amazing form, there are a lot of tired guys in the peloton, and you can just win and keep winning. I mean, would you agree with that? There are a lot of guys there that aren't that fresh.
Yeah, I mean, the stage is also conducive for allowing that. I think I remember the Giro a couple of years ago, even for me, where I was in a breakaway 3 days in a row, second, first, and then I was away on Stelvio solo, but they were all like more or less uphill starts. So if you have the legs, you can get into it. Whilst I think, for example, you look at the Tour this year, they were very flat, all the starts before the mountains, so it was always just really, really difficult to make the break. So I think that really changes the dynamic for making a breakaway, if that's your objective.
Morning, Jai. Well, we're getting into the serious part of the race now. Pretty hard day yesterday. How are you feeling?
Oh yeah, pretty tight. It's been actually a really solid first week. Especially yesterday and actually also those days in Holland were pretty solid as well. So yesterday was a really hard finish, but lost a bit of time, but it's like that. So did my best, but I was suffering like a pig out there, but it's all good.
Suffering like a pig, it's a hard one. But you weren't that far off. I mean, today is a similar finish, even harder, even steeper. What's your plans?
Yeah, I mean, I did this finish, I remember it from 2018, when Yates won the stage, it was really hard. I know it a bit, and I think it's going to be a super tough day also before the final climb, so we'll see how it goes. I mean, hopefully the legs are a bit better than yesterday, but it's just like the Vuelta, it's like a real roller coaster, so hopefully the legs are a bit better.
Guys, do you feel that you're not quite where you want to be or you could be yet?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I have the form of the Giro, you could say, but I mean, I don't think it's too bad either. But I mean, the top four guys are really going super strong. So hopefully I can find the legs a bit in the last half of the race.
There's the first batch of pre-race interviews. What are the takeaways from there, Buells? Any nuggets that you can extract, or you look like you're nodding off?
I actually left the room, to be honest.
Love it.
Oh, we've got another batch of pre-race interviews. I said to Iffy, mate, do we just ditch those and go to the post-race? He goes, nah, run them. We're not doing a potty tomorrow.
All right, I'll pay attention.
All right, pay attention. I think Jay Vine's in here, so here's the second batch of pre-race interviews.
Lucas, I'm going well. We've been trying to get you for a couple of days. We finally got you.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, you were in the move yesterday. You looked very comfortable. Take us through it. What happened?
Yeah, I think yesterday was a good day to. It was quite a hard start, so it suits me a little bit more to get into the move. To be honest, it wasn't originally the plan, but I didn't feel great at the start, so I sort of made the decision myself to try and get up the road, and then it was all about just trying to help Simon late on that final climb. It worked out quite well in the end.
How did you feel yourself on the climb?
Yeah, to be honest, yesterday was probably one of my better days. I've been actually struggling this first week. The form was good coming in, but I've sort of just, I'm not sure. There's just been a few issues here and there, so I've sort of just been battling, but it was good to, yesterday feel a little bit better and be a bit more part of the race.
Now, what's the plan for that today? Of course, today, the stage finish is where Simon had that great win in 2018 and virtually won the Vuelta from that. So what's the plan of attack for today?
Yeah, I think that final climb today is just so steep that it's pretty much just watts per kilo. So it suits Simon. I think it will come down to that final climb today. I think it'll be raced from the peloton. But yeah, our plan is to try and deliver him. It's quite a technical, hard run in to that climb, so we'll try and deliver him as far forward as possible.
Good luck today, mate.
How are you, mate?
Well, Big, how are we today? We'll get our daily update. Firstly, big day in the office yesterday. Have you slept well and recovered?
Slept well, mate, but I'm still buckled, and it doesn't ease up at all today. That last climb looks pretty savage. But yeah, look, I think this is probably the hardest week we've got at the Vuelta days in a row. We'll see how we go today. We need to claw some time back, don't we?
So, what's the plan of attack for today's stage for Ineos?
Look, I think we've got to make sure it's a small break and control it. I don't think anyone's going to let Jay have go on a breakaway anymore. I think he's shown he's too strong for that. So yeah, we're hoping for a small break. And that last climb, look, I think it's just if you got legs, you got legs. There's no giraffe just sitting on the wheels. So we'll try to get our boys up there on the climb and lead him into a good position at the start of the berg. And look, if they can go by themselves, they'll go at the end. There's no benefit of sitting on the wheel at 20%. So I think man versus man.
And so looking forward to the rest day tomorrow.
Very much so, mate. I don't even know if I'll get on my bike. I just want to sleep and stay in bed all day.
Good luck, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Are you aware now that is going to come with expectation and pressure, and people are going to start asking questions and saying Jay Vine should be a TC rider, he should be targeting these Grand Tours?
Yeah, I guess, but like, as my sports director said, who remembers 7th on GC in stage in 2013 at Tour de France? Like, but you always have that photo of you crossing the line as a stage winner. So that was always my first goal, like from the start. I mean, we started with a team time trial in the Netherlands. We were never going to be competitive for that. You have to be competitive for that. Like, Ineos spends millions to get their team ready for that, and they still lost 13 seconds or something like that. So you have the margins are so fine to go for GC right from the start. It just wasn't feasible. So we came here for the goal of the stage win, and this as an option at the end.
Do we maybe have to repackage what we view as success then? Because we genuinely view a good climb as a GC rider. Do we maybe have to repackage and say actually winning multiple stages is better, and yeah, it's just better? Do we have to sort of rephrase how we view that?
Well, I think it's interesting because, like, I think at heart most riders would think that, and I personally think that, yeah, top 10 in GC, you're going really, really well, but no one else does. Maybe in the moment, maybe in the week after the tour, but 2 months later, no one cares. So it's, yeah, I think you obviously get paid the big bucks for being a GC rider, but it's a lot of stress for 3,400 kilometers, and yeah, I think I'm like yesterday. I wouldn't have been able to have yesterday if I was racing for GC, and yesterday was just a blast. So yeah, I wouldn't trade that.
That was actually quite a beautiful thing what you said yesterday, that you just had fun on the bike. Just kind of talk about that, because I don't think we hear bike riders talk about that enough. I mean, when I go on my bike, I have a lot of fun, but we don't hear bike riders talk about that enough. Just, what did it mean to you to be going fast on the descents? I think going fast uphill.
Yeah, it was awesome. Like, yeah, the weather was great. The fans were great. I actually got to have fans on the finishing climb this time. The weather sort of stayed away, and yeah, it was just fun all day. Like, the valleys were really fast. I was ripping it with a freaking ex-world champion. That was awesome. It was absolutely fantastic. I loved every minute of it.
And then obviously you want more stage wins in these next 2 weeks, but does that mean you will lose more time on GC?
Yeah, I definitely think I'm going to have to lose more time. I think, as we saw yesterday with Padun at 3 minutes, they did not. They chased him down before me and Soler got away. I don't think they're going to let me get any closer on GC, which is fair enough.
Yeah, and one final thing, that's a good time I've said this. have you already looked at the road book in the next 2 weeks and said, right, stage 14, that's for me, or stage 17, or
I've definitely looked at the road book and marked out all my points for the for the whole race. But
your mountain points.
The mountain points, yeah, I did that before the race actually started. But yeah, we're taking this day by day. So today's the day, and then we'll look at the time trial and then the sprint for Tim on stage 11.
Thanks for your time. Keep having fun.
That's just the way it goes. It's a shame. Dave Vine, there is a magnificent expression, living the dream. You're living the dream.
Yeah, I definitely think I am, that's for sure.
Yeah. Tell us, 2 stage wins. What does it with a human?
No, starting to waffle. I had to cut it.
Well, the funny thing is, I actually interviewed him first, and it looked like Vazzy chopped my interview out and put the other one in.
Ooh,
I've got him sitting here trying to. He doesn't believe he did that.
He did. He definitely did. That's why I messaged on the WhatsApp going, what's going on here? How'd this bloke chop you off? You're from Australia. You should have first crack at him. And you did.
Anyway,
Vazzy
got me.
We've got a live comment, and it's from Anne Daly. She says, you say Jay, it's not Jai, could be shortchanged. I bet his bonus payments for stage wins are sweet, and a Jersey win bonus. How do contracts work generally, Bills? Do you have written in there if you win a stage of a Grand Tour, you get X? If you get a Jersey, you get X? Or does it depend on the rider and situation?
Yeah, I mean, it's all negotiated individually. But generally, yeah, I guess, and a simple answer is yes. Most bike riders would have a bonus clause in there, especially a bike rider that's capable and knows he's capable of winning stages at Grand Tours. Then, a good manager would negotiate the base salary and then negotiate a bonus clause. Whatever it could be. Could be anywhere from 10,000 to 50,000 euros for a stage win at a Grand Tour. But I'd say, yeah. I mean, who knows? Everyone's contracts are different, and everybody negotiates them differently. But in general, I think it's pretty blanket that a lot of bike riders, especially winning bike riders, would have bonus clauses in there.
It's funny how you see some bike riders in contract year just have their best year of like a 3-year block. Obviously, when it comes down to the old cashola, there's always that extra bit of motivation. Anyway, what do you reckon, John?
I think his value's just gone at an extra 0 on the end for Jay Vine, because what he's just produced has been amazing. I mean, the second win was good, but that first win, when you got Remco on the charge, putting time into Primoz, and he's 20 seconds behind him for 5K and couldn't catch him, that was staggering, absolutely staggering.
I don't know why he sat up today, honestly. Like, I know he's there. That was the plan to go to the Vuelta to win stages. He's won 2 already. And he's arguably the best climber in the bike race. If he's not the best, he's certainly the second best. Like that stage, like you say, that he won the first stage he won when he was just held Remco the whole way. He climbed as fast as Remco climbed. And Remco's climbing so much faster than the rest of the GC guys. I know that he's 5 minutes down or whatever going into the stage on GC, but he was still, and I reckon he was still in a position to climb from the peloton and climb his way into the podium. I don't know, why. Okay, I've got 2 stage wins. Fuck this. Sorry.
I mean, on the social distance.
I always do that.
I know what you're saying. Yeah.
Let's see if we can finish on the podium.
Yeah. Well, he'd already made a decision that he wants the Jersey and stages. He's not going for GC. He felt he was too far down anyway. He was 6 minutes down.
But also the pressure, you lock it in. You've locked in the GC. So
what's the worst thing that happens? He loses time one day, gets dropped and loses 15 minutes that day. Well, then go for stages after that.
Okay, but he was, once they got to just before the climb, and they were still 4.5 minutes down. So the stage was not really on. In the end, Remco got within 1.5 minutes, but it was not. A podium place on today's stage wasn't really there. So he thought, I might just let it go.
No, but I'm talking about podium on the overall. He didn't need to
I know what you were saying. Today. Yeah.
Stay with Remco, finish second from the peloton, take another minute out of the GC guys. Now you're only 3 minutes off.
No, it's because he doesn't have a bonus for finishing on the podium of the Grand Tour. That's why. Peter Rutherford says Jay told the cycling podcast he's on minimum wage plus bonuses. So if you're on minimum wage, surely the bonuses are fat because they're thinking, he's not going to win a Grand Tour stage. He'll be up and about, but nah. So you could write in whatever you want. And Carolyn Harbeck says, g'day from Longreach. G'day, Carolyn. All right, here's the post-race interviews with Remco Evenepoel and Jay Vine after stage 9.
What is the feeling after the stage?
Tired. When you have a finish like this, it's really hard. It was super warm also, not an easy stage. A very hard week, every day super intense racing. So also today we really got attacked in the start, so it was not so nice to control the start. But in the end, the perfect breakaway could go. I mean, what a day for us, what a week. We had some bad news this morning with Peter falling out, but I saw an amazing team today. I think what the team showed today is something that all of you guys never expected from us. So I think that's an answer to everybody that we are a really strong team in the Grand Tour.
What about the last climb? Really hard, right?
I said already, yes, it's really hard.
With the way the team rode today and the way you rode up the last climb, is there a little part of you that regrets that you didn't go for the stage?
No, not at all. So you never know how the legs will be on the final climb. I mean, there are always like these 10 seconds bonifications, and Primas is also a really strong time trialist, so I didn't want to risk to lose time and even take more time with the bonifications. Of course, it's a pity. I think I was 3 times the strongest climber, so then it's always a pity to not win a stage. But I have Tuesday to try.
Tuesday, what is the time trial going to be about for you, and how do you think it fits you?
I'm gonna go full gas to take some more time again. That's the only goal I have on Tuesday. But first, let's enjoy the rest day. I think the team receives a 10 out of 10 for this week. I hope you guys agree with me. So yeah, I mean, the team was exceptional. I mean, it's impressive what they do for me, and now we're gonna really enjoy the rest day in good weather. So maybe we can lay a bit on the beach, and then the other guys can have a rest day again on Tuesday. But for me, it will be a very important day.
It's becoming a team of post crashes. Are you gonna go on tomorrow?
Sorry?
It's a team of post crashes now.
No, I don't do it because I have to be as high as possible for Tuesday.
Remco, you're looking really strong. You could go all the way really with the red jersey, all the way to Madrid to win it.
It's still early to make conclusions. I'm just going to do my best. First, I'm going to think about a stage win still. But to be in red, take time in red is a dream coming true, and it's just amazing.
So, yeah, we are surprised to see the way you actually climb the stages. It looks so easy, but it's difficult.
Yeah. I mean, it's power of the weight, I guess. I've worked really hard on making sure I'm as light and as lean as possible whilst maintaining power since the last Volta, and doing it stably and not going too light too quickly.
Now, people wonder how difficult it has been for you to go from virtual stages and races to real ones, because it looks like you adapted very quickly.
I think I've only ever done 3 proper virtual races. So, I've raced amateurs in Australia before Zwift, and I raced mountain bikes before road completely. So, I mean, the bike handling's like completely natural to me, so when it gets a bit dusty on a descent, it's sort of within my capabilities.
What can you tell us about today's stage? It was hard, especially the last 3 kilometers, very steep.
Yeah, the last that was a horrible way to finish the stage. I'm actually pretty glad that I'm not a GC rider, because the whole last 7 kilometers with the dip through the village there, that would have been awful at race pace.
Finally, next week there are some other stages over the weekend, Sierra Nevada. That's something that you probably would love to win.
Absolutely. Sierra Nevada is an incredible finish, really high altitude, higher than anything that I've ever ridden, like Andorra even. I think it tops out at 2,400 metres. So, yeah, that's a pretty incredible climb. But, yeah, I think we're taking it day by day. And any of the stages next week, I think I've lost enough time to satisfy the GC teams that I'm not going for GC now. So, yeah, there'll be more time lost on the time trial, obviously, and then probably on stage 11 as well.
Very lovely to hear you, and good luck.
No worries, thank you.
Okay.
There you go. There's post-race interviews from your Colombian mate there, Iffy, and it's a shame he couldn't get the framing. He needed to be a bit closer on Jay Bino.
Eyeball him. I got to say, Juan Carlos, thank you very much, mate. You saved me because I stuffed up and got the plane.
Your Colombian-Australian relations are just so tight now.
Yeah. Well, we took him up the mountain the day before, and he had technical issues. We had to hang around and wait for him for about an hour and a half on top of the mountain because he had to go live back to Colombia. So this was his payback for me. So good on you, bud.
All right, as you mentioned earlier in the show, we won't be doing a potty tomorrow because it's rest day. But the stage number 10 time trial, I mean, there's not much on that one. It's just a slow run down for 31 Ks. As you said, Remco will be looking to pull time.
Flat as the proverbial hat, but a lot of those can be flat, but depending on the going through round corners and that can be technical. But this is not technical, from one town to another, and most of it is just really long straight. So it's power. Now, as Buell, as you well know, it's not just how good a time trialer you are; it's what condition you're in on that day. And at the moment, normally you put Primoz and Remco on there, and there would only be 10 15 seconds between them. But it won't be the case on Tuesday because, you can tell that Primoz is not in that same form. Remco is stomping. I reckon he'll take, 45 seconds or a minute out of him.
Yeah, I reckon as well. I think that, you've seen Remco in time trials and week-long stage races and stuff do some serious damage to guys, to top bike riders. And, Remco's always in good form, but we've never seen him in the condition that he's in right now. And I think, Remco's the kind of guy that in 3 weeks' time could win the world's time trial title as well. So he's going to, I think, at the condition he's in at the moment, the fact that he's such a good time trial rider in general, I don't think anyone on the start list will beat him, let alone the GC guys. Yates is a great time trial rider as well. He had a good ride today, Yatesy, I think, considering that he had was caught behind that crash at the bottom, and I think he's in really good condition. I think Remco will be very hard to beat, and I think that he will take more time out of the GC guys than people maybe suspect. And then I think Roglic and Yatesy will probably have a pretty good battle amongst themselves as well.
What do you reckon the movements, Bills? You're looking at the GC here. What are you expecting the shifts after the time trial?
I think that it's going to be. I think Roglic will be second overall after the time trial. I think Mas is going to lose Mas could lose up to 2 minutes to Remco, I reckon. And he's going to be. If I was to predict the GC after the time trial, I would say that it's going to be Remco's going to be leading by about a bit more than 2.5 minutes, or about 2.5 minutes on Roglic, about the same on Mas. So Roglic and Mas will be about 2.5 minutes behind. At either way, second or third. I think Yatesy will make a pretty big jump up to fourth spot. At 3.5 minutes or something like that.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting. Anything you want to add before we wrap things up, Iffy?
No, I agree. I think Remco will win it comfortably. Yatesy could really do a good one, and could even move up to third when you look at some of the guys that are in front of Rodriguez and Mas. Could take a couple of minutes out of them. So it'll be a great one. Yeah.
As Yuan time trial, Iffy.
He's a solid boy, for a guy who can climb as well. He's not real, he's sort of a tall young guy. looks good on the bike. I don't know much about his time trialing abilities. Do you know anything about him there, Bills?
I think him and Rodriguez both time trial pretty okay. Again, like we said earlier in the show, new era, new generation. It's back to the day.
Oh no, Wi-Fi. YouTube.com/the Detour podcast. It's a real downer to finish on, folks. We'll be back again on Tuesday
Thanks,
at
Bills. You're a
6:30
good man.
a.m. No, not Tuesday, Wednesday. 6:30 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time for the Vuelta. Rest up on the rest day, Iffy. Thanks for all the interviews. And thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for the support. We'll see you again in a couple of days' time. And see you, Sam. You're a bit quiet. All right, you're back.
Sorry,
you
guys.
just dropped in and out. But
Internet cut out.
no, you're right. We're just wrapping things up anyway. Thanks for joining the show.
Just one thing, Bills. What races have you got coming up?
We got a whole bunch of one-day races for the rest of the season in the team, chasing points. Stay away from the relegation zone, which we're doing pretty well actually the last couple of months. So I'll be probably in Belgium, northern France for the last couple of weeks of the season and last couple of weeks of my career. Boxing around those races.
It's the emotional final lap.
It's
going to be a big one. All right. Well, thanks for joining us, Bills. Thanks, Iffy. We'll see you again in a couple of days' time, guys. Cheers.